Hello. How's everyone doing tonight? Welcome to Bevies and Books Book Club something. I can talk today. Let me just pop this on Twitter that we're live.
I mean, I'm glad someone can, because I don't know if I can actually.
We're live. Let's add the photo. Oh. Yeah, that's fine.
Are you okay, Lizzie?
Don't like it.
Oh, don't you? Put more maple syrup in it.
Yeah. The trouble is we don't have maple syrup, do we, Danny?
No,
it is quite harsh without it. Like, if you're going straight in with it.
No, we have maple syrup, but it's not maple syrup. It's maple syrup flavoring. You know, the like dessert sauce for like ice cream?
Yeah.
Somehow we managed to buy that. I don't know how the heck we did that.
It looks like Hannah or Ladettem is struggling to connect, so hopefully that'll get sorted out. Oh. There we go. She's here. How you doing?
I mean, Danny, I don't want to come in hot, but I've been sat at my desk for 15 minutes.
I mean, I can hear about that.
We were struggling with the cocktail, and I'm not feeling very well, okay?
I'm not mad at you, Lizzie. You're not hosting this shit. Danny, last month, you gave me the link 6 minutes before we started. This time, you've given it to me 4 minutes before we started. And now I'm 2 minutes late because you didn't get your shit together.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And now that I've said my piece, I'll be happy. I've got a lot of alcohol, so I'm good.
Oh wow.
What the fuck is that? That doesn't look like this.
This is martini, which I know is for next month, but I tried the bitter thing and wasn't a fan. And then my dad and my brother are away this weekend, which means it's just my mum and I. And she was like, should we order cocktails from that place that we really enjoy cocktails from? And I was like, yes. And she was like, they do them by the litre. And I was like, yes. So she's got a salted caramel espresso martini thing downstairs. And I have peach and raspberry. And I'm very happy.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of this cocktail. I just had one sip a second ago, and I was like...
It's too bitter for me. I mean, I know it's called bitters, but that's why I thought I'd try it pre this. And then, yeah.
I haven't tried it yet.
More maple syrup, and it's fine. It's great. I love it.
I also don't think we put enough. We don't have the right ingredients either, technically.
Right.
Like, we don't have 3 of the ingredients. No. 2 ingredients, correct. We don't have the correct whiskey, and we don't have the correct maple syrup. But it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, so for context, because this seems like for anyone who doesn't know what we're drinking, is this month, like with Bevies and Books, we base every month off of a drink, every prompt off of a drink, and this month the drink we chose, or Hannah Bookworm's Feast chose, was Campfire Sling. And Campfire, we're like, okay, who sits by a campfire? And then, we're thinking, found family, because that is, makes complete sense. So we made a Campfire Sling, which you're meant to make with rye whiskey, maple syrup, and chocolate bitters. Now, the only thing we had,
and flamed orange, it does make.
And flamed orange, which we do have. As you can see, there is orange in there.
Yeah, but it also had to be flamed orange from a certain candle, which was the weirdest.
I didn't do a candle. I just got I put it on Instagram actually, like one of those clicky lighter things. Not a light for candles. I did that and just squirted the juices over, not the juice, the oil over it. It was fine.
Yeah, so we did it. They say you have to do it with wood. Like you have to use a match basically. So what we did is we set some toothpicks on fire.
Well, that's the recipe I found.
Ingenious.
That's what it tried to do, was just like set a cocktail stick on.
Yeah, so that's what we did. So yeah, and that's a drink, and I haven't tried it yet because I was gonna give my live reaction to see if I actually like it, and if I don't, it'll be really funny, and if I do, it'll be really anticlimactic. So
I was
I'm
drinking
ready.
them all
I'm
last
ready.
weekend, so.
Look, Hannah, you look way too flippin' smug with your martini. Like, wow. Yeah.
Okay, well, I have made it with rye and chocolate bitters and actual maple syrup, which you said you don't have.
wait.
And it's very nice. It's like an old fashioned. So if you like an old fashioned, you'll probably like this. It's just a bit sweeter.
It's bitter.
You're having a real kombucha girl response, which is to be like, oh, well, maybe. Which I really enjoyed. I've never seen it live action before. I really enjoyed it.
Smells nice. I wish it tasted like it smelled.
That's fair.
Yeah,
This is why I tried it off camera, because I was like, you know, I haven't actually got drunk on any of these live streams yet, so I wanted
now
to make
very tempted to go get a different drink so I can get drunk with you on live stream, because tomorrow is a bank holiday.
I don't feel like alcohol's a good idea anyway for me, the way I feel.
Not with you feeling unwell, yeah.
Lizzie had her second vaccine on Friday. She's still feeling like shit.
Did you have symptoms from the first one?
Yeah, that's the annoying thing.
That's sad.
It's different symptoms, and I'm definitely on the fever line. And it's just my stomach. My stomach really hurts, and I don't know why, but like every time I eat anything, literally anything, my stomach's like, I'm going to eat you from the inside out.
Yeah, my dad and my brother have been feeling that all week. I don't know if it is, like, I'm sure for you it is the vaccine. With Kieran, the first week he had those symptoms and we thought it was the vaccine. But my dad, who had his second vaccine 3 months ago, has had those same symptoms this week. And we're just like, oh, maybe there's just a bug going around. So I'm really looking forward to that.
To me, Lizzie. Don't you dare give this to me.
I don't think it's quite a distance between Folkestone and Oxford. I don't think it is. But I'm just saying in this household, that's, yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping
it's been a messy week.
I'm hoping that whatever Lizzie's got is vaccine related, because if it's not, I'm gonna be real pissed.
That's fair. It's so sweet. It just tastes like juice, and that's not a good thing.
That's dangerous, but I love it.
Wow. Can we order cocktails next time, Danny, instead of trying to make our own? I think that's where we've gone wrong.
Next month is martini, isn't it?
Yeah.
We can do martinis.
But that sounds nice. I'm pointing the wrong way. Hannah's this way.
I mean, it just looks like tomato juice because it's got like the bits at the bottom, but that's from like the raspberries. I think it is just like fresh raspberry juice, peach syrup, and then whatever it is that makes a martini. I think it's just martini, isn't it? It's just, I think that's what the alcohol's called.
Don't mind me. I'm not on delivery.
Now, where's the cocktail place that we went to get brunch? Alchemist. We should order cocktails from the Alchemist.
I love the Alchemist.
No, I don't want a prawn cocktail salad.
Very different kind of cocktail. Not what we're looking for here. Danny, have you notified the Discord that we're here?
No, I have not. Good shout. Let me notify the Discord.
Also, I dragged out my Lord of the Rings jumper for this.
Oh, cute. I'm wearing my Snoopy t-shirt that I bought from Asda.
Oh, I love that.
It's quickly becoming my live stream t-shirt because it's the only clean white t-shirt I have.
Nice. Let me just have a quick look at where is that? There we go. Discord, Bevvies and Book Club. We are live.
We are family. I just felt like it was accurate for the prompt and everything.
Can I tag at here? Or are you going to be mad at me if I do that?
At here?
Yeah.
What do you mean at here?
So I can say at everyone who's here.
Yeah. That's fine. Just at everyone. Just be like at everyone.
Ah, nice.
And then it tells everyone. It lets everyone know.
Watch us all get freaking notifications.
That's what happens when we all share a Discord together.
Yep, there it is.
To be fair, it's one of those things where, like, I set it up just to be really selfish because I just wanted all of my shit in one place. So I have absolutely no problem, like, you guys sharing, like, I haven't seen any content up there recently.
I know.
Listen. No, I have no excuse. I was gonna.
Hannah hasn't shared any blogs since 11th of June.
I didn't realise it was like a recurring thing. I posted 2 in this week, which is the first 2 of the month. But
I love how fucking massive your server is. As in with how many fucking tabs you've got.
I like it organised. What can I say? I want to know exactly where to find shit.
Hello! That was really, really attractive. I do apologise.
Ah.
Yeah, hello. I am now very much feeling left out, and I'm going to go grab myself a cider. So I will be right back.
Oh, that's smart, having backup drinks. That's smart.
I mean, my backup drinks a Vimto, but
should I go for a cider, or should I go... I mean, that's just sad, Lizzie. Or should
well,
I go
I was
for
like, if I brought all the alcohol, it would just be tinkling away in the background.
Should I go for gin, or should I go for something else?
Okay. Is your book a sad book?
Well, the original book was supposed to be a sad book. Hello, Emma!
Because gin always makes me sad, so I feel like if you're drinking gin, I'll feel sad on your behalf. So are you talking about a sad book?
No, not
Gin's
really.
my go-to.
Well, kinda.
I was going to say, the one you were reading yesterday, when we were talking about it, is a sad book, whether you feel sad by it or not.
Yes.
But
You picked a different
no,
book.
get a cider. It's more in line with the book you are going to talk about.
Yes. Yeah. I'll be okay. I'm gonna turn my camera off because I'm just wearing shorts.
That is like, oh, maybe I won't show my ass to the internet.
Shush!
I mean, the rate
So-
we're going, I'm gonna need to make another drink.
Yeah, that's fair. That's why I brought my bottle with me, because I was like, I'm already on my second glass. I don't know if, it arrived to here.
Yeah, but how big is like the circumference of the bottle in comparison to your? Oh wow, okay.
So it's like,
I'm impressed.
science.
But if it looks that good, because like if that's what a martini, I can have that next month. We might be in biz.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing with martini, because it's like saying rum, I think, like you can have them like multiple different ways. So you can have like a dry martini, sweet martini, or like a flavored one, like espresso martini. So like whatever martini you're feeling. And I love that. I love how vague it is.
Because I don't like martinis generally, so if I can find a nice sweet one that just tastes like juice.
I mean, you mean just like this one? Yeah. I mean, I love that they come with like these little labels as well. Like it's just so cute.
It's like an Alice in Wonderland thing.
Drink me. Thing is, I've got 4 of these bottles now because I keep them. Because I'm like, one day when I have my own place and I decide that I want it to be completely sustainable, I will use these bottles to get my cordials in,
Yeah.
So I have 4 of these just hanging out in my room. Now I have 5.
My old boss gave me an elderflower, like an alcoholic elderflower and like ginger beer thing, and had a key on it with a little label that said "drink me" on it.
Oh, cute! I love that.
I have returned.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm now drinking Little Moot,
Oh, cute.
which is my favourite cider in the world. So
I discovered a new cider last week. I got invited to a wedding and they did all the catering themselves. So they had bought in boxes of cider from a local distillery called Old Dunton or something like that. But it's meant to be like Old Dunstan is where it's from, but they've like done like a play on the name. And it's a really flat, sweet cider, like a dry cider. It was really nice. And I was like, I'm driving. How would they feel if I just took a box of this home with me for later? But I wasn't staying late enough into the wedding that I could sneakily do that. So I didn't. I just had my 1 glass and then water, like a boring person at a boring wedding. I'm right. It was a good wedding, but I was sad.
that is a little sad. That is a little bit sad. So, who wants to get started on telling us about the book they read for the found family trope?
Well, who hasn't gone first? Like, I've gone first before.
I've gone
Danny,
first.
you went first. So it's between Lizzie and Hannah, really. It's your turn to lead the charge.
Hi, Percy Jackson. I can't figure out where the camera is. There we go. And the lightning.
I can't work out where the camera is. Good.
I keep being like, there we go. It's looking at the camera because my laptop's there.
Mm.
Like, yeah, but it's not. So yeah, I read Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. I never read the series, and everyone always goes on about like Camp Half-Blood and everything. So like this whole like found family, great friendship sort of thing. Won't lie, I didn't feel that too much with this one, so I don't know if it actually fits. But you can tell it's coming, sort of thing. Like there's the beginnings of like that found family, or at least I think there is, because one character's kind of left. But yeah, I think there is.
They found each other. They're just not a family yet.
Yeah, I think so. But I did really think they are the best chapter headings I've ever found. Like they're amazing. I love them. Like the first one. I mean, I think you've all read it, but the first one's I accidentally vaporized my pre-algebra teacher. That's the chapter. It's great, but yeah, it's straight into the action and everything. So there's no like preamble of like, oh, you know, he's gonna find himself and figure out like he's descended from the gods. I hope that's not a spoiler warning. I'm pretty sure it's like in the blurb.
I mean, if it's not in the blurb, it was definitely in the trailer of the film that was everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't know that's the premise of the book, what rock have you been living under?
I know, yeah. But yeah, so it's like right in there, which I loved. So yeah, but it does feel very juvenile. I know it is a middle grade, but like you really feel it. But I still really enjoyed it, I won't lie. So I gave it 4 stars, and I'm really looking forward to carrying on. Like, hopefully I'll find that family.
Fingers crossed. Who was your favourite character, and why?
See, they're all kind of annoying. None of them are just like nice and lovable. They're kind of irritating in their own right. So
Hannah,
maybe
children.
yeah, I'm not a kid person. Let's put that out there. I've forgotten his name. Grover. That's it. If I remembered it before I found it. He's the satyr. Is that how you say it? I don't
Satire.
know. Yes. I really like.
I think I say satyr.
I say
I think it's it's satyr or satire, because it depends on how you like the accent of how you say it, because that's where satire comes from. Is that it's like a play on something else? So it comes you can it probably is satyr, but I remember it as satire because that's literally the whole point. Is it's like they were the creatures that would come in and mock shit in Greek tragedy, basically.
I loved him. So
Don't watch the film. Do not watch the film. They ruined
I saw bits
Grover.
of the film. Like my sister was watching it once, and I was kind of like, I don't know, I think I was playing Sims or something, and so just saw bits of it. So I knew who, like right at the beginning, they're like, oh, someone will betray you, and I'm like, I know who that is from the film. So,
but also
no big reveal from that, I guess.
the whole film was crap though. Like that's one of the.
It's not well constructed at all. My issue with the film. My issue with the film is the fact that Hades is played by the same guy that plays Alan Partridge.
Yeah.
You can't remember who do that. Like, you have to, it's Steve Coogan. Yeah. No, my mind immediately goes Alan Partridge because of my
But then in the second film, that you've got fucking Hermes, that's played by what's his face, Fillion.
The guy from Firefly.
Yeah.
Oh, Nathan Fillion.
Nathan Fillion. Like,
I don't see him as Hermes.
No.
But
I think he should have been Hades.
But not as Hermes.
No.
But like everyone says, like the film basically follows its own storyline. Which if you see the film after reading the book, you will realize that the film was like, we'll take some elements from this book, but it's a really shit adaptation, and it's kind of unfortunate because Logan Lerman, as it goes, since they aged everyone up, wasn't a bad Percy. I will just put that out there. It was a really, really bad adaptation. So don't watch the film. It's basically
fucking Pierce Brosnan. Centaur Piers Brosnan, but only for the first, because then
He would have been better as Hades.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I didn't even think of that one.
Do you know what I think's really funny?
Isn't Stanley Tucci in that film as well? He would have been great as Chiron.
I mean, probably. He was in all of the like YA adaptations at the time, wasn't he? Because like I think the first Hunger Games came out around the same time that film did.
Yeah.
And certainly the City of Ashes or City of Bones film as well, which is another great adaptation.
He was Dionysus.
Yeah.
Oh, he was Mr. D.
Oh, I can see that. I can absolutely see that.
Yep.
But I think the thing with Piers Brosnan, the thing that absolutely kills me is he just signed so many films where he had his shirt off because he was the stud. Like he did one shirtless scene in Bond, and then every film for about 5 years he takes his shirt off. And I was like, oh my god, he's my mum's generation's Taylor Lautner.
Yeah. Same with the dude from Dirty Dancing. What's his name?
Patrick Swayze.
Patrick Swayze. My mum was in fucking tears when he died.
Oh, let's not talk about sad things like that.
Yeah, let's
not in front of my martini.
All right, Lizzie, go ahead. Unless Hannah, you've got more.
I never have much to say about books. Like as soon as I finished it, it's kind of like my brain goes, okay, you can move on. It's dead to me. But I am really excited about the rest of the series. So yeah, we'll see.
We will continue with the series. Would you recommend the series?
Yeah, I think I would. I mean, again, I've only read the first one, but I did really enjoy it. I gave it 4 stars, so that's good. Wouldn't say it was a favourite. Say the characters were a bit annoying.
I do have a question for you though. Which of the Greek godly parents were you most annoyed at?
I mean, you don't really see many of them. You hear about them, but you don't see many of them. I mean, Hades, obviously. Not Hades, Ares. Like, if you read it, you kind of, like, he's just a dick. But, yeah, I'll go with him, because I kind of like the others. They're all right. Like, you don't really meet, like, Athena or anyone that I remember. I don't remember meeting her. She's just talked about. She sounds like a dick too, though, so...
Athena sounds like a right dick, but then again, it's Athena.
It makes sense that would, like, translate.
But, yeah, like, you see Zeus for, like, all of 30 seconds.
World's best dad. Loves.
Yeah.
Best dad ever.
Like, Poseidon's not much more. Like, you're kind of like, cool. Hi. Bye. So, yeah, we'll go with Hades. I think, the most, not Hades, I keep saying that, Ares. I loved Hades, actually. Like, I thought that was pretty nice, like, how they portrayed him. But, yeah, we'll go with Ares. Didn't like him.
No.
Didn't like him.
He just feels like a petulant child.
Yeah.
Like,
all of the gods are, though. That's literally
their
one universal trait is that they're all children, basically.
Yeah.
Massive children. Petulant children.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Like, yeah. Have you seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Yes.
I have.
You know the vulture in it? That's what I felt like Ares was.
Yeah.
Like, didn't really like it. So.
No,
yeah.
The vulture is fucking horrible. Horrible.
I got so angry when you mentioned him that I just broke my magnetic bookmark. Like, I literally just tore it apart in my anger. You went, you know that guy, the vulture? And I went, yeah. But, like, down here where you couldn't see it. So I just thought I'd let you know that.
Well, I got the same vibe. So, yeah. Don't like Ares.
No, fair enough. Oh no! I mean, I've only just started reading Percy Jackson as well. Like, I finished book 4 like 2 months ago, so I really need to get on book 5. But they are like so addictive in a way where you go, I feel like a child again. Whereas with some other like middle grades, I'm like, okay, I'm definitely too old for this. But I feel like with Percy Jackson, instead of me feeling old, it actually transports me a little bit into like, oh, I wish I'd read this when I was younger, but now I can still enjoy it. Whereas to some middle grades, I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, like I think I put in my review, like, you know, I would have loved it when I was younger, as long as I could get over my hatred of reading at the time, because, like, I hated reading. That's why I've missed all of this. Like, you could have used it as a punishment for me. I hated it that much. Like, it's been such a turn around.
Oh, we love that for you, that it's such.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, it means you'll get to appreciate all those books that, like, for us as kids, were part of our childhoods because we didn't have any friends, so we had books instead. You could just enjoy them as an adult for the first time ever.
I can, but it does mean that sometimes I don't enjoy them quite so much. Like, it
That's
doesn't have
fine. Not every book is for every person. That's fine.
But yeah, it was good though. Like, I still really enjoyed it as an adult. So yeah, would recommend.
Good.
Yeah. Lizzie, what did you read?
I read The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. I don't know why I had a problem with the camera. The camera's right in front of my face, but I still couldn't quite work out the shot. This is this is part of the Wayfarers series, which I'm really nervous about explaining because I don't want to give any spoilers because it's a lot happens in this book. Like, a lot happens in this book. But I really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars. I really want to read the next few of the series. There's 4 out at the moment. I'm not sure how many books the series is going to be because that would mean I'd have to do some research, and I totally didn't do that. So we're just going to pretend like I don't know.
Now. You keep talking and I'll Google it.
But basically, this is like a huge like comfort read. So if you feel like sad or you just kind of want a nice, easy read, I would definitely recommend Wayfarers. You follow, to begin with, a variant human, I will say, because she's not from Earth. She's actually from Mars, but it was from a colony from Earth that moved to Mars, and everyone kind of doesn't like the Martians because they left.
Really sorry. That's my pizza arriving.
That's fine. Carry on.
Really fucking loud. I do apologize.
But yeah, the Martians left the rest of the Earth people to kind of just be in spaceships and wander around trying to find a planet. And they do eventually. They're all over the universe now, and there's a load of other races and species and kind of everything you can think of. And it's set on a spaceship following a crew. And we start with the character Rosemary, and she's hiding this big secret, and you find out like page 1 that she's got a secret. You don't know what the secret is. But you don't stay with Rosemary's point of view for very long. You kind of flip back and forth throughout the crew, and like what they all mean to one another. And there's LGBTQ plus rep in here, which is fantastic. It's so much fun. There's lots of little bits that kind of follow this crew, who are essentially, they create like wormholes. That's what they do, so that they can get through space quicker. They're like employed by like the unified like commission for space. I don't know, it's like a planetary organization, and there's this big war going on, and it's basically they need to get to the small angry planet, and because they've got to create a wormhole, they create at one end, but then they have to go all the long way around to create the other side. And it's like really controversial, and like there's conversations that go on between characters, and it's really interesting. And there's one character in here, and I can't remember his name, but if you've read it, you will know who he is. But he's an absolute dick, and no one likes him. But they've been stuck on a spaceship for, months, years at a time, and they still stick their neck out for him multiple times, and it's just really, really, really nice. And I came out of this, and the first thing I said to Danny was, this book felt like a warm hug because of everything they do for one another. And I would say if you have liked something like The House on Cerulean Sea, you would like this too, because although this is a sci-fi, it doesn't read like a sci-fi, it reads like a contemporary. so it's easy, and it's got some space and sci-fi elements, but it's nothing like super like wordy, I guess. You don't have to know a lot about science to enjoy sci-fi, because a lot of the time I've found anyway, I struggle with science fiction a lot because I am not scientifically minded, and sometimes when there's too much scientific speech, it puts me off completely, and this has none of that. And also this cover is also one of the nicest covers I've ever seen. So I don't really know what else to say because I don't want to spoil anything.
Like, I've owned it for like years and I've wanted to read it, so it's good to hear that you really enjoyed it. So I will have to get on it.
My favorite character in this, I will say, I like all of them, but if you do read it, my favorite is Sissix. She's a really interesting species, and she's very good at kind of protecting her friends, even when they're not really her friends, which yeah, I like. And you watch each character open up to each other, and Rosemary walking into this situation, and also how quickly she becomes part of the crew, and there's no like shunning her, even though as a Martian generally the rest of the Earth people don't like her. And you find out what's happened kind of halfway into the book actually, and she expects all of the crew to hate her for it, but then when they don't react kind of necessarily the way she expects, it's just really interesting to see that dynamic. But also there's, I don't know, I just like watching people's friendships blossom a lot. There's also interesting talks about AI in this as well, and how where the line is with what's something that's sentient and what's AI, which is really, really interesting to me. And also their navigator, again, can't remember his name, which was really annoying because he's one of my favorites too. Ohan. He's also, there is a reason why that happened, and if you've read this, you'll know why that happened. But they're also super interesting as a character, and their character arc is like intense. But I still really enjoyed this, even though there were moments that were really sad, but at the same time it's like full of hope and like not giving up on the people around you, that kind of stuff. So definitely enjoyed it. So read it.
Go on, Danny.
So this is the thing, right? So this book has been pushed at me, whatever, from like 10 different directions. Like, I've had one friend say, "Oh, you should read this," another friend say, "Oh, you should read this." I was pushed in my face on Twitter, everywhere. And I keep going, I don't know. And now I'm like, okay, if it gets a Lizzie's seal of approval, I guess I'll try.
I guess. So what I was going to ask is, so as someone who isn't a massive fan of sci-fi, like, it's not that I dislike sci-fi cut and dry, black and white, but more that I am really particular about the kind of sci-fi that I read. So I really enjoyed Saga, for example, as a graphic novel series, which is obviously sci-fi. I really enjoy Firefly as a TV series. I have yet to find a sci-fi book that I like on those levels. What is it that you think that makes this kind of like a universal book that people should read? Like, everyone should read it, regardless of the fact it's a sci-fi.
As I said, it doesn't read like a sci-fi, which is generally helpful. If you like Firefly, you will like this. Because I've watched Firefly too. Fantastic, amazing, love the show. And the kind of relationships the people from Firefly create is kind of in this book too. And they get themselves into all sorts of trouble, just like the Firefly crew does. But I think what makes it universally a book people will enjoy is because there's nothing in here that is particularly difficult to read. They definitely talk about some real serious like situations, but nothing that's like I guess look up trigger warnings. I don't actually think there are any in here because of the way they deal with it.
Okay.
I don't know though, so if that's something as an audience, if you look up trigger warnings anyway, I would definitely do that for like one thing in particular, which I didn't read it and go, oh, that should be a warning.
Yeah.
But some people might do. But I think it's just a really nice way of kind of explaining that not everything is always going to be okay, but you always have the people around you, and you can choose who you are friends with and how you're going to treat people. And it's like the LGBTQ plus stuff as well. It's so normalized. Like there's nothing incorrect. There's nothing wrong with it. There's like, so there's a same-sex relationship, which is interspecies, which is really interesting. But there's also loads of talk about polyamory and how totally normal that is. And like, there's no weirdness around it. It just is, which is super nice, specifically in a sci-fi setting. And I just think the messages that this book conveys, I think, is super important to everyone. Personally, there will be people who probably won't like this, and that's fine. But that's probably
that's normal.
Who like hard sci-fi, I think, are probably the only people who will generally dislike this, because I think the way they create the wormholes will really annoy super sci-fi people. But I like it, and I like this. So the spaceship they're on is like this patchwork thing that has been built up by the crew through the years. And like even that is just so it's so adorable. And like there's the way they talk to Rosemary about the ship. And it's like the ship is part of the family too. It's like, it's just nice. It makes me feel happy.
Oh, I love that for you. Oh, that's really sweet.
But yeah.
Okay, sold.
Sold. Nice.
And also Celine was like, you got to read this now. So
yeah. Celine's been the main friend that's been like, read it. So
I think with Celine reads really like heavy duty books. So when Celine loves something, it's not just like a passing interest. And like I'm always really nervous if I don't like something Celine likes, because I'm just like, you care. And it's not that she'll care that I don't like it, but it's like I really want to see what Celine likes about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, as opposed to me,
we love you.
A whole bunch of shit and just like, you can like it or dislike it. It's not going to hurt my feelings, and it's not going to hurt her feelings either. But I want to like it because I want to see what she sees in it. You know?
Yeah.
But I'm also really annoyed because I didn't realize this, but it's the winner of the Hugo Award, and we're doing the Hugo next year. But no, I had to go. But then I just realized there's 4 books, so
there's 4 books, so you can read another one. And also, Becky Chambers has the new series, the Monk and Air one. So maybe if you've read all 4 books by then, you can move on to the other series.
Try the other one.
Just a suggestion.
I also like Becky Chambers' writing style as a sign-off. I think it's really comforting, but it also it's just easy to read. That's why I think it's a comfort read. So if you're not feeling well, or you're just in a bit of a reading slump, and you want something kind of easy to get you back into it, I would recommend this. And if you like this, read House on Cerulean Sea. And if you like House on Cerulean Sea, read this. Although be aware of stuff in the House of Cerulean Sea and look that up and educate yourself and make your own decision if you want to read it. As a preface. Okay.
As a preface.
As a preface.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you want to go? Shall I go?
Up to you.
Okay.
Okay, before you start, I can feel my face. When I get drunk, my face does this thing where it feels really tight across here, and I'm starting to feel that. So just know that whenever I start talking, I won't stop. So probably best you go first.
Nice. So I read 2 books this month. I say that take that with a pinch of salt. I DNF'd 1 book. I will talk about it briefly. It's going to be a controversial one. So I read and DNF'd The Song of Achilles.
Why?
I haven't read it yet.
You don't like it, Hannah, but Danny didn't.
I really fucking hated Cersei. So let's start off with that. I didn't like Cersei, and that definitely tainted my view of Madeline Miller as an author. And I try to kind of put it out of my mind because I can tell that objectively the writing is amazing. It's just not my kind of thing. So it's not mine. I know it's not mine. It's Madeline Miller.
I love how diplomatic you're being. Right. For context, Danny and I were trying to do like a little reading sprint the other day, and I could see on Danny's face how much Danny was not enjoying this book. And as someone who absolutely adores Madeline Miller's style of writing, I was trying to be really hard to be like diplomatic and like, it's fine. Like if you don't like it, it's just not for you. And I was like, maybe you just prefer this. And she's just like, and I was like, I don't think you like Madeline Miller's style of writing. So for you to be like, she's a good writer, I'm like, okay.
No, but like I can tell objectively, this is like the writing style is very good and it is quite flowery and really smooth and everything. But flowery writing is not my thing. And the problem I had with Cersei mainly was pacing. And here is all this stuff we know about Cersei, and now we're going to spend ages on that. Whereas the bits that we didn't know was kind of glossed over. Here, I feel like the same thing happened. I made it to 45%. And this is just before, I don't know, should I give spoiler warning about this? I feel like
it's a myth that I think a lot of people will know. So long as you stick to the first 45%, I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, so this happens just before the war happens. That's all I'll say. I finished just before the war happens. I'm like, well, I know the war. I've got 55% left to go in this book. I can't be asked. So that's what I did.
I just had a Faulty Towers reference in my head. When you said that's the war, I was like, nobody mentioned
Don't talk about the war. I mentioned it once, but I think I got away with it.
I'm so sorry. It just came into the front of me. I was like, I'm going to.
Do you know what, Lizzie? I had the exact same thought, and I was like, it's just because I'm drunk. Like, it's such a niche reference. No one else will have watched Faulty Towers. So, actually, Lizzie, I love you more for it.
Anyway, so I cost that. I was like, this is not for me. I know that people love it, and they're like, the 10th anniversary edition is coming out. So it's all getting a lot of hype again. Just for anyone out there who watches this and goes, I actually didn't like it, but I'm scared to say it because, everyone fucking loves it so much. You're not the only one. I fucking hated it. No, I didn't hate it. It just wasn't my thing.
You did hate it, Danny, and that's fine. You're allowed to hate things. It's fine. This is a safe space. I think V. Schwab is a poor man's Laini Taylor. We can all say what we think. It's okay.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Kate.
Okay, you need to get drunk way more often because wow, you normally don't have a filter, but this is
something else, isn't it? Oh, I'm sorry. I can only apologize.
No,
I'm having a great time.
I love it.
So the other book that I read this month that was found family is All Systems Red, which is by Martha Wells and is the first book in the Murderbot series. It's about to say trilogy, but there's more than 3 books. So the Murderbot series. As you can see, it's really thin. It's a novella. I listened to it in audiobook because all the books are on Scribd. And so reading, it's only like 3.5 hours. So that is like a super quick read. And it just, so for a bit of context, like I think everyone knows what Song of Achilles is about. And I'm not the only one who read this month. I hope you mean this because that's exciting to me. I was gifted this book like last year for my birthday. So it's been almost like it's been literally like about a year.
It's been a whole year.
It's been a whole year since I got to it.
Your birthday is this week.
It is this week. So yeah, my friend Shannon gave it to me and she's like, this is one of my favorite books, you should read it. I think you'll really enjoy it. And I was like, sure. And then I put it away. And the reason is because like Lizzie and like Hannah, I'm not the biggest fan of sci-fi. And I was terrified. I was like, I don't want to hate this because what if I hate this? And Shannon's going to be like, oh, that was my favorite book. I'm like, she won't do that because Shannon's lovely. But I felt I was going to feel bad if I didn't like the book. And then Lizzie had a chat with Shannon and Shannon recommended this book as well, I think, right? So Lizzie listened to it and was like, it's really fucking good. You should listen to it. It's on script. So thanks for the rec, Lizzie and Shannon. Definitely first, Shannon first. But Lizzie for pushing me over that little.
I was gonna say I fucking pushed it on you. I was like, no, listen to it. It's on script. It's 3.5 hours long. You are not gonna waste your time reading it.
No. I do have the physical copy because Shannon gifted it to me. But basically, this is a book about Murderbot. That's what he calls himself. It calls itself. And it is a security unit. So it's made to literally be a security guard, but for humans. So this is a construct. And in this world, I don't know exactly if it's the same world as we live in, but so many years in the future. I feel like they may have said it, but I don't remember. Basically, security units are owned by companies, and the company can kind of rent it out to researchers and such to keep them safe. And in these murder bots, that's what he calls himself, but they have a governor module. And this is basically what they're controlled by. That's how the company controls them. But this particular sec unit has disabled this. So there is this kind of line between this is what I'm supposed to do, this is what I have to obey, and I will because like protecting humans is very important to me. But also I'm fucking sarcastic as shit and really funny. So that is basically it gets sent on this mission to protect a group of researchers, and they treat it like a normal human, which is new. And that is all I'll say, because then shenanigans happens, and the sec unit has to do its job. And not even shenanigans, more like danger happens. And but it's just the internal monologue of this sec unit is so good. The sec unit is really funny, and when it isn't working, it is downloading media like books and TV shows and such, and just watches it with like a blank face. And it is so socially awkward because it doesn't like talk to humans. Like, and sec units don't talk to each other. So it's literally like if it has to communicate with a human, it's like does not compute, quite literally, like does not want to do this. And it's really funny. But also there's really heartwarming stuff later in the book, and it's like I said, it's a novella. It's really fucking short, but I managed to get attached to this character and this crew so quickly, and then the heartwarming stuff at the end really gets you. And now I've listened, since I finished this, I have listened to the second novella, I'm listening to the third novella, and the fourth novella is on my TBR for next month. Like, this is one that has very quickly become one of my favorites, just because internal dialogue, fucking phenomenal, and kind of this thing that's not supposed to like care learns how to care, which is cute.
It's cute.
It is cute. But yeah, can recommend this, especially for people who don't like sci-fi or don't like robotic stuff, because even though there's like quite a bit of like sci-fi talk in the very beginning, you get used to it very quickly. And like the first like maybe 20 minutes I was a bit like oh of the audiobook, I was like, oh, am I gonna like this? And then it just becomes normal speech. Like at one point I was like, it's just normal.
It's just normal.
It's normal. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I can recommend it to anyone because it's so easy to read or listen to. Would recommend the audiobooks, are really good. I really like the narrator. I feel like a narrator might be slightly controversial because there is sometimes a slightly weird pace in his delivery. But then again,
What speed do you read it at?
I listen to this in normal speed.
Oh, that won't be a problem for me then.
I listened to it at 1.8 and it wasn't a problem, but also I feel like because I've obviously listened to them, I think it might be intentional because of the character that basically it's from Murderball's point of view, and I think he spoke very like on a very
monotone kind of thing.
It really wouldn't work. So I think that's intentional with the audiobook, but it is a good thing to point out actually. But I didn't notice it because I was listening at it at 1.8. So
yeah, I started off. What I tend to do with audiobooks is I tend to start off at normal speed, and then when I get the hang of the characters and the narrator and such, I will speed up. However, with this one, because it was so short, I didn't feel the need to like speed through, and I didn't want to speed through it. Not only because sometimes his speech goes from normal slow pace to very quick suddenly, and I just miss stuff. But also just because I didn't want to miss anything. Yeah. All right. I see how it is. You would have read this in like an hour and a half. Good for you. I'm happy that I spent the 3 hours on this, the 3.5 hours on this.
I can't listen to audiobooks on normal speed because I read faster than any audio narration out there, and that's something that I noticed myself. Whenever I listen to anything on 1 time speed, I'm like, wow, this person is talking in slow motion.
But you know what? It's really funny because like I had to listen to the Thursday Murder Club with my family because we were driving up to Wales and we'd like chosen an audiobook to listen to together. And Mum was like, "But I'm not listening to it at the speed you listen to it." And I'm like, "It's not that bad." And my dad was like, "I can't hear what they're saying." So we moved it to 1, and I was like, "This is what talking to people for me is like. Like when people speak to me, I hear it at this pace and it's painful to me because I want to talk like this." And I said to Mum, we were watching Love Island. It feels like a tangent. I promise it isn't. There was a guy on Love Island called Matt who had a really lovely Irish accent, but like he would talk like this and it would be this pace no matter what emotion he was feeling. And I was like, I would kill him. Like I would straight up murder this dude. And Mum was like, "No, like he's really nice, he's got a lot to say, like you have a great time." And I was like,
yeah, he's got a lot to say, but it takes fucking ever to do it.
I'm like, just imagine that conversation. "Hey Hannah, how are you?" "I'm fine, thanks, Matt, how are you?" Like it's just not, we're on different planes of existence at this point. Like it just wouldn't work. So for me, an audiobook, I just can't do it. And like I know I'm a slow reader. I know that I read about a page a minute, which when you listen to an audiobook is about that speed. I can't listen to it. My brain just goes, "I'm sorry, there are 100 things I could be doing right now." And I can understand people that are like, "I can't listen to an audiobook because I just can't get into it." I can only get into an audiobook if it's 1.5 to 1.8. And it's only 1.5 if it's a subject matter I don't fully understand. So if it's a non-fiction, I'll listen to it at 1.5 because there's something there that I need to like, my brain needs to keep up. But if it's a fantasy or a sci-fi, 1.8 all the way.
No, that's fair. Like I tend to start on 1 and then build my way up as I get used to the voice. Because sometimes some narrators, there's also like this thing where they don't speed up well, where the voice doesn't speed up well. Like if I listen to Stephen Fry for fun, before I go to bed to listen to Harry Potter, I will listen to it at normal speed. But the only reason I do is because that kind of lulls me into sleep. Whereas when I listen to it to actually retain anything, I will listen to it at 1.5 or something, just because his voice speeds up pretty well. Then when I listened to Mythos and Heroes and Troy, because it's non-fiction, I couldn't speed it up to 1.5. I think I sped it up to like 1.3 because there's also just a sense of I have to retain this. But for me, it really depends on the narrator because sometimes it just doesn't go well. Sometimes with narrators who do voices, it goes really strange. That's why I struggled with The Hobbit narrator by Andy Serkis because I fucking love The Hobbit. Or I fucking love Andy Serkis, also love The Hobbit. But shut up.
Didn't say anything, but okay.
But like, because he does Gollum and he does like those voices, sometimes he'll suddenly start speaking really, really fast, and then if you speed it up as he does that, there's like, it's a fucking blur, and I can't do that. So,
do you know what a great one is though? So Lizzie and I have been listening to the Skullduggery books for the read along, right? Because I read the first two normally, and then the third book, I stupidly left it to the last week and just knew I wasn't going to get it done. The audiobooks for that are wild because he does
great. They are
so good. He does all the voices. He has a great time, but there's like this little jazz number that they do in between chapters, and then he just goes, yeah, and it gets me every time. But because I listened to it at 1.8, I didn't notice any change. Kieran, who's been reading it recently, has just got to book 5, but has been listening to it at normal speed, and he was like, why did they change the narrator? Why does 4 to 5 become a different person? I didn't notice because it goes so quickly. I didn't notice a change, but it's a different guy.
Wait, no, it isn't.
It is.
Hold on, no, it isn't. Hold on. If this is something, what?
Yeah, Kieran was like, his voice is totally different. Like, what happened? And yeah, Kieran tells me, I didn't look at myself. Kieran informs me it's a different guy.
Wait, I need to, okay, so hold on. Wait,
I just realised I sat on my phone charger the whole time.
So 7 to 9 is Stephen Hogan.
Yeah.
So let's find 1 to 2, I guess.
The spin-offs, so I've just been listening to the Maleficent 7, that's by a woman. And I'm so used to hearing the voices from this particular guy, and then a woman comes in.
Well, maybe not that particular guy.
Wow, maybe 2 guys. It's 2 guys, right?
It's a different person! They sound so similar at 1.8!
I didn't notice any difference. And Kieran was like, I don't really like how he does it. Like, he doesn't do the accents the same. And I'm like, what are you talking about? The accents are exactly the same. Apparently only at 1.8.
Oh, wow. My mind is blown. I would have been like, yeah, the narrator's great, and he is great. I've got to say, both of them are pretty in my eyes. Wow, you've blown my mind.
That's how you were about to finish the sentence when you went, you've blown me. And then I thought,
oh, wait.
I'm planning on reading Skullduggery next month, so we'll see.
Oh, Skullduggery also works for Found Family, by the way, audience peeps. Found Family, it's amazing. We're doing book 8. I'm so excited. I love the series.
Going back to audiobooks, please, for 2 seconds, because I've got a funny story about that, but I know we finished talking about that, but it's fine. I sometimes read along to audiobooks. That's how I used to read audiobooks with it. So I used to listen to audiobooks at like 2.2 to 2.5 when reading along, because that's generally my reading speed. And when I was living at home last October, I was reading Stephen King's It, which is narrated by Tim Curry. It is fantastic, by the way. And my dad walked past my room and he asked me, he was like, what the hell are you listening to? It was like a really, one of the scenes where I'm like, oh, he's gonna have heard what's happening here, and he's gonna like, what the hell? No, he was like, how can you understand a word that's being said? Because it sounded like gobbledygook, and I was like, well, when you read along, you don't need to necessarily be able to hear every word because you're reading it. But it was one of those interesting moments where I was like, but it's fine. I can understand it. But my dad was like, but I was really scared because my dad was like, what are you like? I was thinking he's going to be like, what the hell are you reading? What is this?
It's not porn, Lizzie. You're fine. Going back even further into the conversation, though, Danny, I think you raise a really interesting point about gifted books or books that you've been like told are great books. Because I was talking to Molly from Mind of Molly about this earlier. Mm-hmm. When I first started BookTube, it was on the back of everyone being like, share your wish list, let's buy each other books. And like, I fucking love buying people books because I love seeing their faces when they open it up and it's not what they were expecting. And just a heads up, it is Danny's birthday this week, so let's get on that. But the reason I've stopped getting on those like hype trains or even mentioning my wish list in my videos has nothing to do with Jeff Bezos, because you can put buying elsewhere in whatever. It's the fact that there were about 6 books that I got gifted that I thought were really shit. And it doesn't matter that I put them on my wish list, right? The fact they were bought for me by someone else, I immediately felt guilty for not liking them. I know for a fact I gave them 3 stars when I would have just either given them a 2 stars or DNF'd them because they were gifted to me by someone else. And I didn't want to tell that person, hey, thank you for that lovely, thoughtful present you sent me. I basically helped you in picking it out because I put it in my wish list in the first place. Hated it. Because, like, I feel like it seems really unfair that they've, like, put that money aside. If I buy a book for myself and I hate it, I bin it off within 30 pages. I've got no problem doing that. Like, you get 3 chapters to win me over. And if you don't win me over at 3 chapters, and like sometimes it doesn't even get there. I've binned off a book from 3 paragraphs before. And if I bought it for myself, I don't feel any guilt because I've given that author the money. It's going to go to charity. It's going to go to like a local school. It's going to go to whatever. It's not like it's going in the bin. But when someone gifts me a book, I feel really bad for hating it. Yeah. I just don't talk about it anymore.
That's fair. I ended up like, this is a book that I was gifted, and I still ended up not reading this version. I ended up listening to the audiobook, which I got for free. But like, this book wouldn't have been on my radar, nor would it have been on Lizzie's radar, I don't think.
No, it definitely was, because when we started playing D&D in person, and Shannon's D&D character is based off Murderbot.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Like,
no, but I've heard Murderbot way before Shannon, and I hadn't been reading it, and it wasn't until Shannon said, "Hey, this is my favorite book series," I went, "Oh, okay, I'm just going to push it up as priority on my TBR because I know it's on the script." That was what happened.
Okay. Sorry, didn't mean to put words in your mouth. I just thought we had the same situation. But yeah, no, this otherwise this would have never, unless my friend recommended it to me or gifted it to me, this would have never come onto my on my radar. But speaking of audiobooks, I just want to let you know, I just want to like play you the first like 30 seconds of this audiobook so you can have an idea of how I listen to it, and also what I mean with that specific way of speaking that fits with the character really, really well, but I feel like if some people might have issues with.
Chapter 1. I could have become a mass murderer after I hacked my governor module, but then I realized I could access the combined feed of entertainment channels carried on the company's satellites. It had been well over 35,000 hours or so since then, with still not much murdering, but probably, I don't know, a little under 35,000 hours of movies, serials, books, plays, and music consumed.
No.
I was trying to get to the end of a sentence.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like Siri.
Yeah, but it's meant to.
I play my chapters back to me to see, because I find that if I try and read it, I won't notice stuff. Whereas if it's read back to me, I'll notice things, and you can tell like where you've put a comma in something, it doesn't work or whatever. But it does have that kind of very robotic noise of emphasizing the wrong parts of the words. Do you know what I mean? Like I can't deal with that. 1.8 speed, please.
But it's 100% intentional, like that.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
for sure. If it's artificial intelligence, for sure.
Well, yeah. He's a robot, but he's built of like synthetic parts, like an organic.
Yeah, so he's got human cloned parts.
So he's a cyborg. Interesting.
Yeah.
He's kind of, because he doesn't have. It's a really interesting thing.
You two have been living together too long, because you both in tandem went kind of.
Oh, yes, we did this before we moved in together.
Yeah, but we did this before, like before we moved in together.
If you say so.
With ow.
Okay.
With Murderbot, who was your favorite character other than Murderbot?
Wait, I need to make sure that I don't confuse it with the second book. Let me just very quickly.
You right there, Hannah?
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of need the bathroom, so.
I'm mean, I am
I
out of
liked
drinks.
Rathy, and I just like Mensa. Because Mensa is just cool.
Okay.
But I like Rathy. Rathy was a cutesy kind of. Was Rathy in that one, or was that the altered human?
Is Mensa Greek/Latin for table? Have I made that up?
I don't know. I can Google it.
I didn't realise it was going to tickle Hannah that much to ask, to be honest.
How random I thought it was.
I mean, in Egyptian, it means born third.
Okay.
So if you have a third child, you name it Mensa, and it's just fucking
Wait,
awesome.
are you thinking of like Missa?
No.
Because that's
No, there's a meaning behind Mensa, because there's like that school that's called Mensa as well, isn't there? And I could have sworn it was like Latin for table.
What are you talking
Yes,
about?
it is. Yeah.
Yeah, Mensa, meaning table in Latin. That's the
Well,
thing.
it's spelled MENSAH.
Oh, so they've added a H there. Without the H, it means table.
I mean, I listened to it on audiobook, so I had no clue how you spelled it until I just checked it just now. So,
Okay, that's great. I love how proud of yourself you are. Then you're like, yeah, meaning table.
That's all I have to share. That's it.
well, no, you still have to talk about your book.
Would you like to go to the bathroom? And Hannah, would you like to go get another drink? And then you can come back and talk about your book.
Yeah.
Did you just?
I was
Are you
trying
trying to share your screen?
I was trying to like show the thing that but it's doing that, so I'm going to stop that because that's going to give me a seizure. Like, I have no idea why it's doing that. If I've given anyone in the audience a seizure, I can only apologise.
Oh, of course, you do it on Danny's channel as well, not your own.
Yeah, so you'll get in trouble, not me.
Oh my god.
Go pee. Go pee.
Are you sure? Are you sure you can hold the conversation without me? Because let's be honest, I'm a fucking delight. So
You are a fucking delight, but you're also a bit much. So go pee.
We'll just sit here staring at each other and not talking while you.
that's fair. I understand that. I can't believe you just said I'm a bit
If you
much.
wanted to get another drink, you can. This is a
I'm
good time.
going to. I'm going to make another campfire sling. Means I'm the only one that likes it.
I mean, I'd say you could have mine, but you're a bit far away over in Wales, you know?
Yeah.
Or mine.
I think I'll get there in time.
The ice might have melted.
No, not completely. There's now a ring on my desk though. That's the thing that happens. So I don't know who's watching, but hello. Do you guys have any particular questions about like the books that we read? Like Lizzie read The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. The other way around, and I read two books, one of which I hated and yeeted across the room, and All Systems Red. So does anyone have any questions? Questions?
Oh my god.
Hannah! Hi Piper! Hey! Hannah is replying from the toilet. We love that. That is a multitasking. How would I define found family? I would define found family as found family. Oh god. Hannah.
You did this, Danny. You did this.
I did this. I think found family is just usually a situation where I promise I'll wash my hands. Usually a situation where a bunch of misfits find each other kind of and then get so close that they aren't really a group of friends anymore, but they more so become like a family. Sometimes it's said aloud. Such as in All Systems Red, it's literally said at one point. But it doesn't always have to be those without a family, not all misfits. It can also just be like a really close group of friends that all kind of go through a same or a similar like bad experience. I don't know. That's how I would define found family.
I would define it as finding a group of people you truly feel yourself in, with being with. And it doesn't matter if you're all misfits or not. You could all be rich with a great life, but you might not fit in with the rest of like society. And then you find those people, and they're the people that kind of
Make you feel at home. And
yeah,
safe.
you feel at home and you're safe and like yeah, that's what I define as found family. Anywhere where a character finds a home and feels welcome and is able to be themselves with.
Yeah. And then I think part of the reason for why do sci-fi and fantasy attract found families in general as popular tropes, I think is so in a lot of sci-fi and fantasy there is this idea of exploring and like exploring new locations and meeting new people, and also like hardship. There's usually some kind of disaster or some kind of war, and that binds people together. So I think that's part, and usually there's a dead parent or two dead parents. So I feel like that's another reason why it lends itself well to this trope. Yes. Dead parent.
I think I'm going back at the perfect time.
And then, did you wash your hands?
Of course.
I will just say with the last question, Hannah, about the sci-fi and fantasy thing, I think it's easy to have sci-fi and fantasy which has a found family trope in it, and also really easy to find. Like, you don't have to look hard in the sci-fi fantasy genre to be able to find the found family trope, because you have a character whose journey, like hero journey, you follow, and 9 times out of 10 they have a group of people that surround them that very quickly becomes the people that hero relies on. So it's very easy for them to become a family and protect one another. And I think that just lends itself really well to the kind of epic journey that a lot of sci-fi and fantasy books go through. And even series, they might not be a family by the end of the first book, but they certainly are by the end of the series. I think it just lends itself to it really, really well because of the stories. I mean, it happens in contemporary too, but I find that it's less easy to spot unless it's kind of said outright.
Yeah, but even this goes back to like Greek myth. Like, I want to make sure that I say this right. The Argonauts. Was it Jason and the Argonauts?
Mm-hmm.
Like that is like a literally very, very early rendition of a found family trope of Jason finding the Argonauts and finding this kind of support system and family in his journeys and his travel journeys. And like, I don't know, this is such an old concept and lends itself so well in that hardship and that journey and that adventure. Like same with D&D. Like we all play D&D. If you play a 6-month campaign, and by the end of that 6-month campaign, there's not some kind of like family relationship between like at least a few of the characters, maybe not all of the characters, like how? I personally ask myself, how?
I love that you said that, because obviously the way that I met all 3 of them is through D&D. And the fact that, so for context for those watching, I ran the campaign as the DM, and all the people that were playing, which was Lizzie, Hannah, Milen, Celine, Shanice to begin with, all these people playing had chosen a character for themselves. And I think other than Lizzie, everyone else had played once, if that. Like a lot of them hadn't ever played before. So they were playing characters they didn't really understand like how those characters would work. Once we'd played for about 6 months, I gave them a second character. There was going to be an NPC that they could control. And almost exclusively, they kept hold of those characters because they were polar opposites of the characters they'd created. Now, there was this little moment where one of Hannah's characters gave the other Hannah character a small ring that had a lot of power in it. And I was like, they're getting married. Like, I love this. Like, I think you're right. It's one of those things where, like, because it's the hero's journey and because there's like these bonding moments, you don't see them in contemporary as much because it's really pedestrian and it's really mundane. And like, you can have a large friendship group or you can have found family in real life, but I don't think you would ever define it as found family. Do you know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't necessarily say, scrapping the family that I have at home, these people, excuse me, I've got hiccups now. These people are the people that I feel most strongly for. You would describe them as your friends or your colleagues or whatever. In fantasy, they don't have anything else. They don't have anything to rely on. So you end up creating these bonds. So for me, found family is that. It's those bonds that we choose for ourselves, right? And it might be that actually you choose the wrong family for yourself. Shadow and Bone is a prime example where the main character chooses wrong, like twice. She just makes the wrong choices. Six of Crows, same author. Some of those people, although they have their found family, they don't like each other. They're not necessarily people that get along. I find it really interesting because I watched this thing the other day, this TikTok that was talking about different found families. And it was like, people will assume the Avengers are found family. But actually, there's so much in Infinity War and Endgame that proves they're not.
I didn't think
Stark
so.
has a whole family that nobody knows about. You know, the only two people that ever cared about each other were Natasha and Clint. They were the only two people that actually like got in contact with each other on the outside. And I think it's really easy in fantasy and sci-fi to have these epic moments where they feel like found family. Even if they're not, even if once the mission's over, they're not family anymore. And it's why I'm really excited to talk about my book, because it's those situations years after all that shit's happened. So it's going to be like, I think as a trope, found family is one of my favorites, because I think when it's done right, it really it's a really heartwarming thing. And then, you know, characters die and you get sad about it. Like if it's done really well, you care about those characters as a whole as well as individuals. And like the reason I asked you guys like who your favorite characters are from these books is because I think there's always one character that stands out. But the whole point of found family as a trope is that you wouldn't ever take them away from the greater whole. Do you know what I mean? Like the moment you take a character out, it's no longer a functioning or dysfunctional family. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't have that dynamic.
Yeah, literally. There's a whole thing in here with one of them, and it's like, what would happen without this character?
Mm-hmm.
And it's super hard to read, and it's all about like choice. And it's like, you can't take away that choice from this person, but also we can't do without them, and the whole dynamic would change. So yeah, 100%. It's like I would have been heartbroken. Like this book is so good at portraying exactly that, like exactly that.
And I mean, going back to the Avengers and like the MCU for a second, like if you watch the first, like just the Avengers, in that film, I would definitely say, at the end they are a found family. I would say that for that film, because they have their disagreements and they come together in the end. They fight each other, they make up, like that kind of stuff. But then, as soon as the series continues on, they all go off to do their own thing again. Like Thor goes back to Asgard, and Cap is dealing with Bucky, and all this shit. And then you very quickly realize that although they had this tiny, like, beautiful, magical bond for when they had a shared purpose, as soon as that shared purpose is gone, they are their own person, and the found family falls apart. Doesn't mean they didn't have it.
See, I would argue that they didn't. That for me would be my argument, is that it's a working unit, not a found family. Because you think in the army, right, you are forced to work with these people you've never met before. And they might be from completely different social circles. They might be from completely different areas. They might have completely different morals, values, and opinions. They've got one thing in common with you, which is that they also joined the army for whatever reason it is the army people join for, right? When you walk away from your unit, from your first 6 weeks of training, you might have a social attachment to those people in your unit, right? Like you're a working unit. But the thing that works well in an army is that you can move from place to place to place, and you will form that bond no matter where you go. In fiction, the units that become found families are the units that refuse to work with anyone else, right? So like Suicide Squad is a found family. They only work in those set circumstances with those set people. Could Harley work with a whole brand new set of people? Yes. Because she does in Birds of Prey, and she does in film too, right? So they have this like element, but there are others in there that just don't work with other people. Croc doesn't work with other people. The shark doesn't work with other people. The sharpshooter doesn't work well with other people. But there's elements of that. So that's what makes that found family, is the fact that the difference of that. Whereas, like Stark goes off back to his tower and does his shit. The Hulk goes off and does his shit. Like you said, Thor and Loki go back to Asgard. Their family is back there. If you want to talk found family with Thor, his warriors that he starts his Thor journey on, that's his found family, because they're not just a working unit. There's 4 of them that like follow him to Earth and fight that like weird monster metal thing, because they're his family. And it's a case of it is fractured when you take those elements out of it. Yeah. What they are really great colleagues. Like they work really well together. But I think that's the thing.
I tend to think of the Avengers as like, from my main man is fucking Captain America. We all know this. I'm a Cap person. People have opinions. It's fine. That's fine. Because he has literally, in the first film, he has no one left. Like, he comes back out the ice 70 years later. Peggy is about to die. Like, he's looking for that found family, and I think he actively tries to find that. However, it doesn't come back for him until Bucky becomes Bucky again. That's when he has his found family with Bucky, which is why I'm fucking angry about Endgame.
But do you know what? The irony of that is, he wants his found family and all he gets is colleagues. Because like that's why he's joined the army, because he's on his own and he thinks he will find his family in that place. And it's something that like real armies do, right? You look at like there's that Navy website advert that's like, oh, I learned to fix bikes in Leicester, but I was born in the Navy or whatever. And it is they create this camaraderie that goes beyond just, yeah, we're mates. Yeah, that's my colleague. Yeah. Like, imagine 2 office workers talking about each other the way 2 Marines would talk about each other. Like, you just wouldn't see it. Those people who die for each other, they steal each other's paper and stapler. Like, it's a very different vibe, is what I'm saying.
It reminds me of, actually, that makes me think of Lord of the Rings, because, you know, Tolkien, you know, went through the war, and I think that's part of the reason why he's so good at writing that found family with the Fellowship. And even though it's not perfect, like but the thing is, no family is perfect. It's kind of the point.
I think it's perfect, but okay.
I mean,
I'm joking. That's fine. I'm just being.
But like, I think that's like Lizzie pointed this out to me recently. Like, this is all Lizzie's theory. I just wanted to bring it up, but
she properly pulled it after you, then, Lizzie. This is all Lizzie's theory, just so you know.
No, Lizzie doesn't want to say it.
No, but I don't know what you're fucking talking about. This is why on my brain, did I say this?
Yeah, you did. You were like talking about how, you know, he writes male relationships really well because he was in the army, and I think that's part of the reason, because he writes male relationships so well, really helps with the found family aspect.
This is not my theory. This is from Tolkien's letters that he wrote himself that I had to look at because I did my dissertation on Lord of the Rings and Tolkien.
Oh, good time.
Right, fine. I just want to point it out, okay? Anyway,
Hannah, you can't run away on your own live stream. That's not how this works. Imagine if I was just like, oh, we're talking about skullduggery. Oh, you're talking about something I don't like? Bye. I might do that next week, actually.
Speaking of ratings, because we also mentioned ratings like 10 minutes ago, and I forgot.
Hold on. Let's let Hannah talk about the book that she wants to talk about.
I know, but I wanna like just say what I rated both of my books, and then because then I'm done. Right? So I rated, even though I didn't like it, I rated Song of Achilles 3 stars because, you know, objectively it was pretty good. Just didn't fucking like it. Hannah, I know you don't agree with me. You think I should rate it? It's fine.
No, I don't rate anything that I DNF more than 1 star. Everything I DNF gets 1 star. If I put it down and I have every intention of picking it up again, then I don't rate it at all. But if I don't like it, it's a 1 star. If I don't want to finish it, it's a 1 star, no matter whether it's beautifully written or not.
I mean, I put it through Cool Pile and I was like,
Well, the enjoyment should have been 0. We should have brought that whole score down because you DNF'd it.
yeah, that's true. Anyway, I
that's
gave
the only
this
reason I put it on
4
the
stars. Okay, I gave this 4 stars. I'm done now. You can do your talking.
Oh, can I? Because I've not been making noise this entire fucking time. So I'm going to stop swearing for the 2 seconds that I talk about this middle grade, right? So this is the book that when we had the last live stream, I was like, I'm really excited for it. I mean, it's shiny. It's got monsters in the title. I've just been approved for the 2nd in the series, so I need to give it the time of day. I got 30 pages in and I just didn't care. And I thought, I know it's not the book's fault because I felt that about books that I've already read before that I was rereading. And I knew I loved those books. So it couldn't have been the book's fault. So we didn't DNF, we have abandoned, which I think is worse. I've put it down and I will pick it up again, probably in November for Believeathon. And then I picked up Kings of the Wild because this was one of my Top Trumps TBR books. So again, I know you 3 know what my Top Trumps TBR is, but just for context of anyone watching who doesn't watch my content, which is, probably all 4 of you, I basically create cards to choose which books I'm going to read each month. And I go through all of Goodreads, I look at what my friends are reading, I look at what piques my interest, and I try and pick books that are either read by a lot of people and really popular or completely out of my comfort zone and I wouldn't have picked up for myself. And then I create cards and I will pick a card out, whether it's the most recent year, an author I've never read before, highest Goodreads rating, highest pages number, and then like art. This was highest page number, so I pulled it out with my TBR card, and I've seen it on a couple of people's TBRs. I know that Becca from Becca in the Books has been gifted this from Cody's Book Corner, and Cody fucking loves this book, and I can see why. So I gave this 5 stars. I thought this was epic. I did it part read, part audiobook, because the audiobook is on Scribd. And okay, my D&D baby, that we hang out and play D&D. This is just, it's so D&D vibes. Like, all of it is wonderful. Like, when you've got that one character that feels like it's got like main character syndrome when you're playing the game. There's none of that in this. They've all got like completely equal footing. And the premise of this is 20 years ago, these guys were the greatest band of mercenaries the world has ever seen. They had a really strong knife wielder. They had a wizard that could always pull something out of the bag at the last minute. They had a really stoic leader who didn't really see himself as a leader. Like, he just kind of like cheered everyone on. He's the guy at the front. He's got this shield that nothing can get through. Nothing can aggressive shaking of the book. I get really excited. I've told like several people about this book already because I'm so pleased that I picked it up.
Told us. You've gone, you need to read it.
Well, yeah, because I just know there's no one in this room here that wouldn't enjoy this, for sure. Because even like the way it's written, it's not like Brandon Sanderson or Scott Lynch or Patrick Rothfuss in that it's really like overtly descriptive writing and it's big and it's epic and all these, like, it's not like that at all. Because it happened 50 years ago and then it cuts to like when they're old. There we go. It cuts to them being old men, right? They've all retired. They've all got the lives they wanted for themselves in their retirement. And then something goes wrong and they all have to get back together. They have to get the band back together. And that's literally, that's the tagline. It's time to get the band back together, right? So they've all got the wisdom. They all recognize the moment something starts happening, they're just like, oh, here we go again kind of moment. It's really funny because they have this like wisdom around the situation that I really appreciate, which if you've played D&D for a long time, there'll be like, that moment when the DM says, cool, roll for initiative. And you're just like, all right, like, okay, what have I got in my potions pack or whatever? Like, what weapons do I need to prepare? You have that moment the way this is written, it emotionally prepares you for that stuff, and then something will happen, and it does feel like when that one player that we weren't concentrating on them because you were trying really hard to kill this troll, and they're doing something over there because they're on the other side of the board, and then all of a sudden the DM goes, yeah, and suddenly they pull a magic rabbit out of the hat, except the rabbit is 10 feet tall and eats all of the bad guys, and you're just like, I'm sorry, what is happening? Like, it feels like that. Like, I can only describe it as D&D vibes because it just has that kind of whimsical, fun engagement vibe to it, and I just really enjoyed it. And when I discovered that there are 3 books in this series, oh, so happy. So this is like a prequel, and the next 2 are after this. So these guys kind of like come out of retirement, kill bad shit, and then kind of move on. And I'm not going to go into necessarily like individual characters because they all serve a function, right? They all have a backstory and they all have like a thing that they're doing. And all of them took me by surprise in some way. Like, it was just really, really clever the way it was done, to be honest. And I just really enjoyed it. So yeah, it got 5 stars from me. And I would absolutely recommend it.
It's one that I've wanted to read for a long time.
I really
it's got D&D vibes.
Yeah.
I would also recommend.
Really read that now.
I read Rat Queens today, and Rat Queens is like a graphic novel very similar to this. So if you're like, I like the idea of that, but I don't have time to read a chunky boy, Rat Queens also works. Just so you know.
I've wanted to read a Rat Queens for so long. Main reason. Well, which cat is that?
It's a baby.
Is that mine? No, it's the big one.
I'm sorry. Just because it's a bigger baby does not stop it from being a baby.
He's meowing at my door, so I thought I'd better go let him in.
I got so excited my glasses have steamed up. Can you see that? That's how excited for Kings of the Wild are. So like there's like bits in it. I'll see if I can find a quote that's like not gonna like be a spoiler. But there were just moments in it that were just really fucking funny. Like the way the dialogue is written is so clever. And it just, oh my god, it's great. It's great.
Yeah, I've been wanting to read Rat Queens for a while because it reminds me of literally years ago, like during campaign 1 of Critical Role. At one point, 2 of the characters a Halloween episode, and 2 of the players dress up as Rat Queen characters. And since then, I've kind of like had my interest piqued.
Yeah, it's really good. I read it today. I was pretty impressed. But okay, so this is chapter 46, so it's like quite a way through. But Clay's determined run that had long since become a jog, which in turn degraded into a forward-leaning shamble, barely faster and yet somehow more exhausting than a walk. Like, I just love that, the idea that he's like, I'll get there. When I get there, oh, Jesus Christ. It's moments like that, and there's like this group of bandits that are known as the Silver Arrows or something like that, or the Silk Arrows, and they rob the guys 4 times. So every time they rock up, they've just stolen something else, and they like just collect shit. They're like this group of women that just go around collecting things, and they're like, you're like really good luck for us. Like every time we bump into you, we make loads of money. And he's like, thanks, can I have my stuff back? And she's like, no. Like, it is really civil, and I just really enjoyed it. And what I really enjoyed is like there's like mythology between like the weapons they use. There's a moment where they rock up at this guy's house, and he's like collected all of the weapons of great warriors and things. And he's like, and this is the sword of so-and-so, and it does such and such. And this is the shield of so-and-so, and it does this thing. And that's a box, there's nothing in that. And then there's this. And it's just so clever. Like, and it's the book for nerds. It's that book where if you've read Lord of the Rings, and you've read all of like Brandon Sanderson, and you've read Patrick Rothfuss and Scott Lynch, and you're just like, I loved all of those. This comes in as like a really gentle fantasy that gently pokes fun at all of those tropes that you love in those things. Like, it's not a parody or a satire. It's not like Scary Movie is to a horror film, right? Like, it's not taking the piss out of itself. It's it's a gentle jest. But if you're not sure if you like fantasy, or if you're like, I need a palate cleanser fantasy, then I would recommend this anyway, because I think it's not a really heavy, oh god, I've got to read 600 pages high fantasy. It's 485. So it's a decent sized book, but it's not huge. It's just really fun. And all the characters are really sarcastic. And yeah, I'm really glad I swapped this out for the Monsters of Rookhaven, because the Monsters of Rookhaven was really cute and it has some really interesting monsters in it. And like I said, I got like 30 pages out of like 280, and it's just like, I'm just not feeling it. But I'm not feeling it at the moment. This book, I was really worried I was going to hit a reading slump, and then I listened to this book, and it was just like a saddo. At one point, I was just like lying in my bed, staring at my ceiling, going, "Well, this is just a lovely time. Like, I'm just having a great time, you know? Like, it was just great." So yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. It's on my. I think I put it on my to buy TBR already. Like, I need this now. Or Blue, what do you want?
All I was going to say is, not going to lie, I was fully prepared to put it in all 3 of your subscription boxes this month. Like, I haven't, but like, I was, because I think for a couple of you, I've already recommended it, like just on like the basis, like the premise of it. But I was so tempted to put it in as your surprise book for all 3 of you. But I was like, no, Hannah, you've got an agenda there, and yeah, and there's LGBTQ rep as well, by the way. Just so
Nice.
you know. That's exactly what I did. Do you remember I did that last month as well, where I was like, oh man!
That's why I remembered about the long way. That's what I did
last month. I was like, oh, just so you know. Yeah.
So we've got some great recs. Not the Song of Achilles, but everything else was great. Great recommendations. Or the Monsters of Rookhaven. Also no,
it's not that it's bad. It's a middle grade. I just wasn't in the mood for it. And also, you'll be really pleased to know that's all I've got left of that Lisa cocktail. Genuinely.
Oh, love that.
So if you're wondering why she's got so extra,
congratulations. If you wonder why I'm yawning like a bitch, is because I had cider and now I'm sleepy.
oh.
Yeah, I'm a baby.
Yes, you are. I'm a baby. You're so Danny,
for some reason, I was a French baby.
a little French baby.
So what is everyone reading next month? The Khan. What's that about again? You've explained it to me, but
I did make a mistake in my TBR video because I said that she takes over from her husband's gang. That's not accurate. It's her father's gang. Basically, I think her name is like Talia. No, it's Gia Khan. She is the daughter of a mobster, and she's been living in London. It's another book I'm reading set in Chicago. She's a lawyer in London, so she's very like high-powered, very business-driven. Her father runs a gang in India that like runs over to Pakistan and like does drug running and gun running and all kinds of horrible shit. But they also just control the state that they're in, right? He is murdered, and she has to return to Pakistan to like A, solve his murder, and B, run the organized crime gang that they've got. So because obviously our prompt was organized crime, I've been holding off reading this since January, I think. Whenever it was that we came up with the list, which was either January or like March time. I'm so excited for this. Like, it's going to be sick. It's got blood on the front cover, so you know it's going to be dark. I'm really excited. It's a debut author of color. We love that. So yes, very excited.
Nice. I'll show you what I'm going to be reading for organized crime. And that is Welcome to the Dark Side.
Is that a porn? It is.
Maybe.
Let
me find the synopsis for you because I read it to Lizzie earlier.
It made me feel sick.
I'm excited. I'm so. Can one of us read A Den of Vipers? Can we all agree to read that as well at the same time?
Okay, but we need to do a body read of Den of Vipers because that's the only way I'm going to be able to get through Den of Vipers.
I'll do it.
Okay, cool.
I've heard about it before.
We'll put it on the list because we can all suffer together.
Yeah, so let me read to you the synopsis of this this piece of fiction. I was a good girl. I ate my vegetables, volunteered at the local autism centre, and sat in the front pew of church every day. Then I got cancer. What the hell kind of reward was that for living for a boring life well lived? I was a 17-year-old paradigm of virtue, and I was tired of it. So when I finally ran into the man I'd been writing to since he saved my life as a little girl, and he offered to show me the dark side of life, I left it for good. Before I left it for good, I said yes. Only I didn't know what Zeus Garo was the president of the Fallen MC, and you made a deal with a man who was worse than the devil. And when you made a deal that was worse than the devil, there was no going back. This is Daddy Zeus Garo story from Lessons in Corruption, a standalone in the Fallen Men series.
I love that. That sounds so awful. Oh my god. So okay, wait. Who's the author of that?
The author is Gianna Darling.
Okay, so I thought it might be like, I don't know what this was. I thought it might be a Katie Roberts spin-off because in A Lesson Learned, which is the second in her like Wicked Disney series, there's a character called Zeus who is a mobster leader who's an asshole, and I was like, what if she did a spin-off series that I didn't even know about? And no, it's a completely different author, but like intriguing that it's the same.
Yeah, it's about a motor club. So I feel like I don't know if it's organized crime, but I feel like it's close enough.
Something's organised.
Something's organised.
Got their shit together. My straw went around like that, and I was like, yeah, that's normal.
Yeah, so I have had this on my TBR for a very long time, ever since, I don't remember which book chipper it was. I feel like I should be remembering, but I can't. Did a most steamy books of 2019 video, and this was pretty high on the list. And then I downloaded all those books because what I was planning to do was following this person's like video and seeing what I think of it. Then I remember this person became a little bit controversial, so I DNF'd that idea. But I still have the book on my Kindle, so that's what we're reading.
Okay, interesting. Who else has got porn on their list? Anyone?
Okay, I don't anymore.
Anymore?
Oh no, disappointing, isn't it?
No, I was going to. But then I got really disappointed because then I realised I should have just kept the first Wicked villains for this, because Jasmine and Jafar would have been perfect for this organised crime thing. I didn't know if the second one counted or if her new one, but no, but I'm more interested in reading Neon Gods, which is her next series. I really want to read, but I didn't know if that also counted. So that's my backup.
Okay.
Because I can completely tell you now, I am not excited about the book I'm going to read.
I didn't realise, because like I know for a fact that I can't remember what the prompts for the martini. I know I didn't choose martini, but I'm almost 100% sure that I chose organised crime or was like one of the leaders for that. Little did I know that we'd all be going, porn? Porn? But I can't wait for Feb, which is my birthday month, which is erotica and sex positive books, because then we're all going to read porn and it's going to be a great time.
Listen, that's my backup, because I want to read Neon Gods, and I feel like mobsters and like club owners and nefarious deeds. But I asked my colleague at my new job, because she really likes crimes and thrillers. So she has lent me one of her books. And the reason I'm not excited is because it's nearly 500 pages long. And this is Hidden Killers by Linda LaPlante.
Linda
LaPlante. Oh my god, I found that funny because I'm drunk, but that's a great name.
I just realised that the rating the book that I'm reading is 420.
I'll just shut up, shall I?
Sorry.
Now, I'm not hyped by this.
It looks good.
Just because crimes and thrillers are not my jam anyway. And this is following like the other sides. This is like the detectives trying to work out the crime, which I do still feel fits organized crime. But when I inevitably DNF this, I will be going on to one of Katie Roberts' books because I know that they're good fun. Although I don't think you can read Lessons Learned because on Scribd they only had the audiobooks, and I don't know how comfortable I am listening to the audiobooks. I don't know if I can do it.
You know what, Lizzie? I've got your address. I think I might just treat you to a little bit of porn. For Danny's birthday, I'm going to treat you to a little bit of porn.
Yes, do it.
It's a great story. I'm on a worthy opponent, and I'm like, so Molly and Ali and I have been like buddy reading each book, and it's been really funny because we'll like sit on a StreamYard because we can't be asked to pay for any other app to like do this shit on. So we're all sat there, and like something will happen, and you'll just see like Ali and Molly take it really seriously, and they like sink in their chairs, and they'll just be like, "Oh, this is steamy," and I'll just sit there and I'll go, the moment it's even remotely sexy, I'm like, "Well, this is hilarious," and like there's a bit in the first book where she like puts a particular costume on, and I genuinely out loud went, "Weird," and then just continued reading it anyway.
I think the first one I read out excerpts to Danny, I'm pretty sure. And it was always the bits I was like, I think I kept on just going, ew. Yeah. And like, the thing is though, I said to Molly, I think we were about 2/3 the way through. And the whole way through, the main character is like really submissive and really kind of like, I'm a damsel in distress right up until this point. And I was like, you know what? If she saves herself and like fucks this guy up or whatever that's happening, I'll give it 5 stars. Yeah.
Guess what rating I gave it? I was like, I'm a woman of my own word. Like, I will. It got 5 stars from me.
I will say, I am more excited about Katie Roberts than I am the book that I am saying I'm going to.
Just fuck it off, Lizzie. Just read Katie Roberts.
Well, you know what I'm going to do?
I don't mind me swearing on your channel because I can't help it now.
I don't fucking care.
I'm going to take the leaf out of your book and I'll give it 3 chapters.
Yeah, okay.
If it doesn't grip me, bye.
I can't argue against my own leaf. That's fine.
And then I'll probably be picking up Neon Gods anyway. So if I inevitably read both of them, I'll just tell you which one's better. And it's probably going to be Neon Gods because I have Neon Gods on my Kindle.
Cool.
I would also just now Lizzie's done with her little her book. No, I just forgot to say that I was looking on the page of the book that I'm reading, and one, I noticed the rating was 4.2, which is pretty damn good. But also, my aunt's read it, and she gave it 5 stars.
Interesting.
Well, not really my aunt, it's my dad's cousin, but close enough.
Oh,
Danny,
okay.
You need to message your aunt and just like talk to her about it. Be like,
I guarantee she'll be like, well, I've been like, oh my god, it was amazing. I find it really uncomfortable anytime I talk about any books like that with adults. And I say adults, I mean people over the age of 40, because under 40, we're not really adults. And like, whenever they talk about books like that, they're either really into them and it's the only thing they read, or they're really against it. And I just find that polar response really amusing. And like,
well, it's the first for my aunt. She's read 100, and I'm going to expose her for a little bit. You won't. I'm not going to say her name, but I am just going to read out to you what she's read this year. She's read 168 books out of 250 that she's planning to read this year. So she's going, but such as Knocked Up by Her Best Friend's Dad, The Nerd and the Neighbor, All Grown Up, The Next Mrs. Russo, there's more, wait, Mile High Club, My Coach, My Stalker, Unwrapping Tatum, Tempting Tatum Novella, Damned If I Don't, Damned If I Do, Rules are made to be broken. The Greeks' destruction.
Okay, I need to know, has your aunt read any Penelope Douglas? Because that's where the line is for me.
I'm gonna just, I don't know, can I see that? Can I? Yes, I can look at
Yes, I can. Oh my god.
Because I'm so scared to read any more Penelope Douglas after the shit show that Credence
He
was.
has not.
Okay, good.
Okay, I've never read any Penelope Douglas.
I can tell you,
I'm so stunned.
do not read Credence. Any of the other ones, or maybe her last one, which is the Sapphic one. Apparently, a couple of people from the Zoom group read Chrysalis Venom, which is the Sapphic one, and they're part of the LGBTQ plus community, and they did not like the representation.
So what one are you gonna read, Hannah?
Well, I'm not here, so Katara.
Oh, not you. We've got
I
Katara.
think she said she was reading.
Liza
Liza Lockmora. But I am planning on reading The Godfather still because it's my mum's favourite and I've never read it or watched the film. So I'm going classic.
I love that for you. I do also, I don't know if you said Katara is reading Liza Lockmora. That's one of my favourite fantasies of all time. It made
I
me
started reading it, but I went in a slump. I need to go back to that one.
It's tough. Like, to be fair, it's tough going. It's like Patrick Rothfuss in that it will be like, here is a text relevant chapter, and here is the action. You will need to have read the previous chapters to understand it.
Book, so I should love it. I just was not in the mood for reading when I picked it up.
That's fine.
Which is basically what happened this month. So it's amazing I read this. So I guess that recommends it even more. Yeah.
I just found a series that my aunt's read, and I'm just feeling a lot of things. The Suds and Sam series. It's called Suds and Sam, A Suds and Sam Christmas, Suds and Sam for Hire, The Dead Gigolo Caper.
Why is he dead?
Suds and Sam go viral, Suds and Sam on the lam, No Such Thing as Witches, Suds and Sam +1.
Can I just say, at least Katie Roberts has good names for her books. And as much as I hate to give Penelope Douglas anything, at least Penelope Douglas also has pretty damn good book names.
Who wrote Birthday Girl?
Penelope Douglas.
Yeah, I thought so. But that's the one that people keep recommending to me, and I'm just like,
I've been told I need to read Birthday Girl and Punk 57 are the two that I've been told to read.
Okay, so the books that we're buddy reading, considering we went from a casual vampire romp, we're now going to move on to
Den of Vipers.
Den of Vipers, which is going to be so fucked up it's not even funny. And then after that, we're going to buddy read Birthday Girl. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the only thing with Den of Vipers is only what Gavin has said on his channel.
I've seen a lot of people talk about it, and there's a scene where they have sex to this, like, and she's tied to the same post that a dead body was tied to not moments before.
Oh, I feel like I'm gonna love it.
Like, they literally unhook the dead guy, hook her up, and then sexy times.
That's sort of fucked up that I'm like, wow, I love this.
We're gonna learn some stuff about you, Lizzie, and I'm here for it.
Not in a sexy way, because ew, but in any kind of dark book, if there's death and people being turned on by death, I'm like, yes, I like you.
I like a good murder, but I don't know how I feel about people that are like, oh, dead bodies.
Hey, I love
reference, but that's fine.
You've got necrophiliac.
No, vampire books, and vampires are all about sex and death. That's a massive trope of theirs, you know? So
maybe that's why I'm not as into vampires. I like a vampire story, but I like a vampire thriller as opposed to a vampire romance. Maybe that's why it is, because I'm just like, oh, they're dead, you know?
I love the turn that this live show has taken.
I can only blame it on peach and raspberry martini.
I can only blame it on the fact that Danny is definitely reading a porn next month.
Yeah, Danny did start it by bringing up porn. Jesus Christ.
I mean, now I'm just looking through even worse titles.
Oh no!
Love Bites.
Love Bites really
again.
I thought
Love Bites hard. Love Bites hurt. Love Bites forever.
Let's not. I genuinely thought one of us would read/reread Six of Crows or something like that. I was like, I've only just read it. That's a heist book. That's fun times. No, we're going straight in.
I didn't like Six of Crows enough to reread it right now.
That's fair.
I've never read it, and I don't know if I have a plan to.
I enjoyed it for what it was. It's not my favourite fantasy of all time. The second one was interesting. It's fine. It's a YA fantasy. It's better than Shadow and Bone, but I don't know if better than Shadow and Bone is enough for me to recommend it to people. You know? So.
I feel the same.
Yeah.
You're sitting on my Darkling. It's fine. It's okay. It's fine.
He's not even that. I'll tell you what. I'll give you this. The Darkling is more interesting than Lucifer from Addie LaRue.
Yes. Agreed.
Sorry, not sorry, Katara. I've already told Katara how I feel. So
fine. Katara also hates the Darkling with all her soul. So
I know.
Gonna upset her. I'm gonna tell Katara to not watch back this live show if she isn't. Right now. Just don't do it, Katara.
I don't know if I've said that.
No, watch up to 1 hour and 45 minutes. No, 1 hour and 50 minutes. That she can watch the first hour and 50 minutes, and then she just needs to turn.
No,
off.
she can't. Do you not remember earlier when I said that V.E. Schwab is a poor man, Lainey Taylor?
Yeah.
She can't watch this one. She can be on the next one, and I'll be on my best behaviour. I won't mention V.E. Schwab at all.
Will you?
I pinky swear.
Well, none of us are reading any V. Schwab, so.
I've unhauled all of my V.E. Schwab, even the books that I haven't read, like Vicious and the Dark Shadow Matches trilogy.
Oh, I should have got vengeful for it, but I know I want to read porn. If I don't
You can read porn. That's fine. It's a short read anyway. I'm gonna go eat my pizza now.
I'm gonna go probably to bed. I'm really tired.
It's only 9 o'clock. Jesus Christ.
It's your holiday day. Come on.
Yeah. Bank holiday. Fun times. Okay.
I'm off to Greece tomorrow. I can't wait.
You're going to Greece?
No, Hickories.
Oh, Hickories. Oh my god, I didn't hear.
You're going to Greece?
All I heard was the end of Greece, and I heard it as.
I've never left the country and don't own a passport still. So if I was going to Greece, it would be an impressive feat.
To be fair, Hannah, you could probably just borrow my passport. It's fine. I don't think they'd notice. You'd be like, my name is Hannah, and they'd be like, that's accurate. We won't even check the rest.
Yeah. We're both born in February as well. It's just the date.
And we're both brunette with glasses. That's all they look at.
The thing is,
Yeah,
they go.
you're the same person.
They go, oh, you don't look much like your photograph. You could go, well, no one looks like their passport photograph, now do they?
I had like a lot of hair in mine. I mean, I still have a lot of hair. It's just short.
I look like I have a bomb. I look like I'm hiding a bomb up my ass in mine.
Don't say that word.
What does that look like, Lizzie? Please explain.
I look at myself every time and I go, I look sus as hell.
Like, okay, if I was to do an impression of what I look like with a bomb up my bum, it'd be this.
No, I'm like.
Okay, so there's a bomb you don't want up your bum. That's a very different vibe. A bomb that I know is going there. A bomb that I don't know, it's more of a. Either way, I can't sit straight. That's what I'm going for. And on that note, please just cut the line.
We'll be back next month. Same time, same
I had
time.
a great time.
Wait,
Last
what is
Sunday of the month at 7 o'clock BST. We'll talk about my smutty book and all the other books people are reading. And
If I have
with
signal,
that,
I'll be in the comments.
and Hannah will be in the comments. We'll have a special guest. And I'm going to go. I'm going to end it here. Thank you all for watching. I'm sorry for this game.